Welcome to Women at the Well podcast. My name is Ariane Morgan,
I'm Tiara Brummond.
and here we are.
Episode 11.
Another week.
How have we done this 11
We're
times?
excited. We keep changing up
Amazing.
our little background.
I know.
So we kind of liked having a table.
Yeah. It's fun to
And
sit at the table.
and then we were here last week with Sierra.
Mm-hmm.
So if you didn't get to watch that episode, go back and watch the little bonus episode
That one was so fun.
about India.
I
So
loved
fun.
It. I loved it.
I keep having all these thoughts that relate back to India, and can I tell one little quick
Yeah,
story
please
really
do.
quick? So my friend Bailey, she and her mother came on our trip to India. It kind of relates to this, so
I'm sure it does.
it's a good tie-in.
It is. It is.
Exodus. We're in the book of Exodus, by the way, 1-6, and so anyway. My friend Julie that I met on the trip, I didn't even know her before, and now she's like, I love her and her mom. Bailey stayed in India.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, she was like, I'm not leaving.
I probably would have stayed too. I'm
And-
like, oh, you can't make me go back.
I know. I was like, I was a little bit jealous. I'm not gonna lie, even though I was
Yeah.
really excited to come home. But she is still there, and so she's actually been helping. She has been a school teacher, an elementary school teacher, so she has been staying at Rising Star Outreach, which we've talked about is a school for children who have families affected with leprosy. So either their parents, their grandparents, or themselves have leprosy. And so Rising Star Outreach is an amazing organization that helps kids get an education. And so all the way from preschool through what they call Standard 12, which is like a senior year in high school here in the United States. So you can sponsor a child at Rising Star. It's about $125 a month is what they need to be able to pay for room and board and all the things that kids need to receive this education.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're in these leprosy colonies where they're lucky to get one meal a day, and at the school they get 3 meals a day. Anyways, so and an education, which is huge.
Right.
So
Big deal.
big deal. So Bailey sent me, and hopefully I'm sure this is okay to share, but Bailey sent me a picture of this boy that she decided to sponsor for the school. And anyway, she just kind of felt like just his goodness and felt his spirit, and kind of saw through his eyes just this sweet boy.
Yeah.
And he was kind of quiet and shy. He'd been abandoned by his mother. And and so and the other kids kind of shunned him, and he didn't get a lot of attention, and because just kind of a shy quiet kid, but really smart, really sweet. And so Bailey got to choose who she was going to sponsor. And when she chose this kid, and all the other kids, she's been there for like a week. And so they were, I think, kind of like, oh, who's Bailey gonna choose?
Right. Who's her fave?
And she chose this boy, and he just beamed. And then all the other kids were giving him attention and being kind, because he was the one that Bailey chose. And
maybe see what
he was kind of
she was seeing.
Yes, he was kind of the outcast, know, and then and abandoned by his own mother, when Jesus says, who is a mother that forgets her suckling? Can a mother forget her suckling child? Yea, but I won't forget you. So it just made me think about being chosen by Christ, which is what we're going to talk about with Moses. And then, of course, our podcast, again, all the awesome podcasts that are out there, that all the awesome people who are scholars, but we're taking this as who are we? Just moms, just regular old members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. What do the scriptures mean for me, for what's going on in my life, for what's going on in my family, what God's calling me to do? And I just love Moses so much. And I love that story today because it's
so sweet.
Jesus Christ chose us. He's our sponsor.
Oh, I love that.
Right? He's sponsoring us.
Yeah.
And he paid the whole payment.
The whole tuition.
The whole tuition. Do you not love that the Spirit was and I'm Bailey, you did just what Jesus did for all of us.
Yeah.
Like, you're sponsoring him. And then, yes,
The
other
least of
children.
these, that's who he sees,
Yes,
right?
other children started to see like how special he was.
love that.
And then he started to know how special he was, all because he was chosen and sponsored.
Yeah. He was
And-
just given the opportunity
And that's the covenant.
to be chosen.
Yeah, that's the covenant. That's the new and everlasting covenant. Isn't that?
I love it.
I know.
It's
I
so
love.
cute. I just want to hug this little boy.
I know. Oh, he's so
squeeze
cute.
him.
He's so cute. So anyway, so that's just a little start to just the opening of our lesson. So we're in Exodus
1-6.
1 through 6, and this is something that I am seeing over and over again. And Tara and I have been on this I don't know, journey of like finding covenant language throughout the Book of Mormon, and then reading all scriptures with a covenant lens. And whenever again you hear have eyes to see and ears to hear, that's like, hey,
Listen up.
hey, covenant people.
ding.
This is like something you need to pay attention to. And Exodus is like blatant about that right at the beginning, because the whole like first 7 verses are all about the sons of Jacob,
Lineage.
which is the tribe of
Covenant-
Israel,
covenant.
which is the covenant.
Lineage.
Yeah, covenant lineage. And I love this because in verse 6 of chapter 1, it says, Joseph died and all his brothers and all that generation. But the people of Israel were fruitful and increased greatly. They multiplied and grew exceedingly strong, so that the land was filled with them. That's like the fruits of the covenant. So here's the covenant.
You're seeing
people,
what God did. Look
and
what he
this
did.
this is what God did. Joseph died, but Jacob and all of his house of Israel, the whole house of Israel, were fruitful and increased greatly and multiplied. And I know this has been mentioned on other podcasts, but multiplying and being fruitful, I know that we typically only think about that sometimes as posterity.
Yeah.
But I don't think it just means that.
Right.
I don't think it just means childbearing. Of course, it does mean childbearing.
Yeah, that's
but
part of it.
That's part of it. But being fruitful is what Jesus was talking about with the fig tree that he cursed in the New Testament, right? Like, there were leaves, but there was no fruit.
Yeah. Or the parable of the talents.
Or the parable of the talents.
How did you increase what you were given?
Yes, that's the multiplying, increase.
Yeah.
So are you producing fruits,
Yeah.
and are you multiplying?
Right. For something to be good and fruitful, it has to be multiplying. And it's like, this is why I love our unique doctrine of eternal progression. Like God is forever progressing. Like, we can't even comprehend it, right? But that also then he would extend that to us and be like, I want you to also increase and multiply always.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what brings him joy. That's his glory.
Yeah, and for all his children.
Yeah.
And that's where our joy in our posterity comes from, is because we are producing fruits, which of course we are freely teaching to our children.
Yeah.
And then our children are benefiting from this heavenly gift of covenant as well.
Yeah. But also, it's like, yes, we sacrifice for our children and we do all these things, but it's like, and we are to teach them. But I don't know about you, but I feel like being a mother, like my children have taught me far more
Oh, yeah,
than I think I've taught them,
for sure.
because it changes who you are. Every day there's something new, and it's a refiner's fire.
I've always said that
painful.
parenthood is the greatest sanctification program that the Lord provided for us.
Yeah, it really is.
It's
You know
a-
what
it's
I've
a-
always said about parenthood?
Tell me.
It is the absolute best and the absolute worst. It's both at the same
The
time.
great and dreadful day, right? The great and dreadful day.
It's the best thing you'll ever do, and it's the hardest thing you'll ever do.
Yeah, yeah, it's so good. It's so good. But I just love that little reminder of this is the Abrahamic covenant. And that's part of the promise, is that we will be fruitful when we live the covenant. I've just been studying in 4th Nephi in the Book of Mormon, and the beginning verse, like 20 or so verses, 18, 19 verses, are about people who accepted the heavenly gift, which is making covenant with God and his holy house, being endowed with his power, being sealed to a covenant spouse, and that they they were able to live in peace and righteousness and worked miracles in the name of Jesus Christ
Yeah.
and lived this just covenant happiness.
And there never was a happier
And there
people
never was a happier people ever
because
created
they were
by
living
God.
after the order of God,
They were living after his order, which is this Abrahamic covenant blessing. And so
family relationships.
all in these first like 7 verses, it's like, hey, this is the goal. This is what's happening. This is like God just keeps trying to tell us who he is and what his character is. And then we like mess it all up.
Yeah, I feel like this is like a nice little frame, like a
Yeah.
framed like, okay, so this is what God did here.
Yeah.
Look at, they just totally prospered and increased, and they were saved and protected by that covenant.
And I just had the funniest thought. I was like, it'd be awesome if we could just remember that every single day.
Right?
And then I thought about like the garment of the holy priesthood, and he's like, yeah. That's
So,
kind of what I want you to remember every
you're
time you
getting
get you get dressed every day. Okay, I'm a little slow still, so it's fine. And
we're
I
all
feel like
getting
Moses,
there.
I'm slow of speech, I'm
Right.
slow of thought.
Well, I think so many of us, like when we think about the garment, we're like, okay, Christ, Jesus Christ, his name, putting that upon me every day. But it's like, that means this
here.
and this and this.
Yeah.
It's about covenant. It's about priesthood. It's about prosperity. It's about
protection.
it's about
the whole
increase,
covenant.
and it's like
I
the
know.
covenant. Like we could go on and
It's
on.
like, don't forget
infinitely about
because
it.
Moses kept like I know we're going to get to this, but Moses kept being so human, which I just love. I just love that about Moses, that he is like, I don't know that I can do this,
Which is all of us.
like, and he starts like telling the Lord his
His
inadequacies,
Lists
you know,
off his discrepancies
and
to him.
and he's like, no, remember at the beginning, like this is what I did. This is what I did for Joseph.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm going to do for you. And he's like, I got you.
I got you.
I'm here with you.
That's why he said, I am that I am.
Yes. Yes. So, okay, we've got to talk about these midwives.
Oh, my new scripture heroines. I tell
I
you,
know. I
I'm
don't think
listening
I've
to all
ever
this,
read this before.
and I'm like, why is this not like shared every single Mother's Day? We could just cover Exodus and just praise the women and the mothers until the cows come home, because like they are the stars of the show.
They are, and there's
in this
so
story.
many amazing women in these first 6 chapters of Exodus. It's like, I feel like, yes, we get to learn about Moses, but it's like the women of the covenant, like the mothers of Israel, over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's literally like, okay, Moses is the like star of the show, but he's only there
Because of his
only
supporting
there
cast
because of
these women.
these handmaidens.
Well,
that
and
made the whole story even possible.
Yeah, the handmaidens, and then his mom.
His mom, his adoptive mom.
Yeah.
His sister.
Yeah.
The beautiful, what are they called? The wives, that deliver babies.
Oh, the
midwives.
Midwives. Yes,
The
these midwives. Yes.
I'm like, why don't we know their names by heart?
I
Because
know.
talk about 2 lowly
Shipra
women.
and Pua.
Shipra and Pua, our new
You know what I
fave
love about
ladies.
them too? They're like the Egyptian women. They were weak. But the Hebrews, they like already had these babies before we even got there, which again is like a covenant promise, right?
Yeah.
Like call upon
So I'm
that.
like, did they fib a little, or were they like, maybe they just were like, okay,
I don't
this
think
lady's
so.
gonna go into labor, so we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, I don't think I think that there's that.
Yeah, I
So-
love it. I love that they
so
just.
the example for us today is, we talk about President Kimball's talk all the time. And of the type of women that will lead the prophecy that he gave of the women of the church that will lead all the other women of the world to the church.
I don't
in the
even think it
last
says
days.
women. It just
People.
like
Pull
droves
it up.
of people. I will,
Yeah,
because I
pull it
just
up.
shared it last week.
I know, it's so good. It's so good, but that they will be different in distinct and happy ways. And
Yes.
happy doesn't just mean like ha 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 happy. It means happy, which is joy,
Like I
which
have
is
the
in
presence,
the presence of God.
and people will see that. Like you
Yes.
ever just like you've heard it multiple times from different sources that like people will be like, oh, LDS people just have like a light in their eyes, or like what's different? What is it like? People that aren't
Members
in
of
our
the Church
members.
of Jesus Christ of Latter-day
Yeah, yeah,
Saints. Yeah.
Did I say Mormons?
LDS.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. Jesus.
all of it.
Jesus. Yeah, we
All of
gotta
it.
keep his name in there for the power, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But yes, I just thinking about these women of the Old Testament, Moses' mom, the Pharaoh's daughter, it made me think so much of that talk from President Kimball, which I also love. Not that he was sick, but that his wife gave the talk. Like, I love God so
Sister
much.
Camilla Kimball.
Yeah.
Look at her.
Look at her.
She's
She's
so
so
cute.
awesome. She got to give the talk about women,
I know.
the righteous role of women. If you've never read it, it's from 1979, isn't it?
1979.
Yeah, October 1979.
Okay, so where is it? Da-da-da.
But while she's looking this up, so Moses' mom had to like keep him for 3 months, hide him.
Quiet.
Good
luck
A
with
3-month-old
that.
baby
I
who
don't know
needs
she
to
did
eat
it.
all the time. She's probably nursing him.
She probably nursed him 24 hours a day.
Yeah, which is why he was goodly, because she was nursing him all the
Yeah.
time. He was probably a fat little chubby thing, so cute. And then his sister, who Miriam, well, let me just say this: the bulrush, the little tiny ark that she made him. Okay,
The pitch.
the pitch.
Yeah.
So described the same way that Noah built his ark, which what we all like have been studying about, Noah and his ark, is that it was like a temple.
Yeah.
And so there's this reference in my mind to
Yeah.
Moses being a covenant child, putting him in a covenant
Vessel.
protection
Yeah.
vessel. And then what President Nelson has told us about, there is nowhere safer to be
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
earthquakes of life
Yeah.
than within our temple covenants.
Yeah.
Like the symbolism of this covenant mother of Israel placing her newborn baby,
Yeah.
and then his sister going and watching.
But also, like like I was thinking about this
Yeah.
this morning. I'm like the Nile River. Okay,
Right.
we're talking is it crocodiles. We're talking hippopotamuses, which are so incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm like, and just a river alone. Your 3-month-old baby that very
My
clearly
sister-in-law
cannot swim.
almost died in a river in Africa. Was
Oh
it
my
the
gosh.
Nile? Is that the Nile?
No,
What is that one in Africa? I don't know.
my kids would know.
But Angela almost died, my sister-in-law, in that river. So yeah, it's like you just put your little
Yeah.
baby in there.
Into literally into the
think
mouth
she
of the
knew-
beast.
I think she knew she
What she
was
was making.
She was making a cup. She was like this, like calling on the covenant, which I don't think we always do.
No,
Because we don't want to seem. This is me. I'm roping you into
it's
my
us.
thoughts.
It's me too.
Is I don't want to
We're
like
same.
be demanding of the Lord, like you better keep your covenant with me. It's
Yeah.
not that. It's I am aware of the covenant,
And
and
I'm
I have faith,
confident in
and
it.
I'm covenant confidence, like that talk from conference, that I am calling upon.
Yeah.
But if not, but I'm going to
Same thing
accept
with
everything.
Abraham and Isaac. Like
Yep.
even if you just bring him back to life, I don't know how you're
Yep.
going to do it.
Yep.
But I trust you with him. And I'm like, I was reading about what was Moses' mom's name?
It's not in here. It's next week. Well, Jethro. Oh, no, that's his
I
father-in-law.
listened to a podcast and it said
I
her name,
know.
and I was
I
like,
don't
oh,
remember.
I love her name actually.
I know. It's so good.
Okay, let me look it up.
I know. You guys.
We're on it
See,
today.
we're just normal people.
Jokobed.
Oh, Jokobed. That's right. Yeah. yeah.
I just love her name. It's just fun to say. But I'm like, how can I be like Jokobed? How do I just
That's what I'm
surround
talking
my
about.
children
Yep.
with this little like covenant ark and totally trust the Lord? Just send them on their merry way. We have to do this with each of our children. And it is like heartbreaking and terrifying, but also you have this like calm reassurance in your covenants that the Lord is going to make a way.
Okay, I'm going to read this from President Nelson to go right with that. This is how we do it. The Temple and Your Spiritual Foundation from October 2021. We have been promised that if we are prepared, we shall not fear. And he's just talked to us about how we prepare is that the temple, lies at the center of strengthening our faith and spiritual fortitude, because the Savior and his doctrine are at the very heart of the temple. So how do we prepare? We go to the temple more.
Yeah.
We study, we receive revelation, we worship him. And he says, this assurance that we shall not fear has profound implications today with our children,
Yeah.
placing them in their own Nile
Little ark.
River ark,
Yeah.
right? In the Nile River.
Literally our world right
literal- The world right now.
Crocodiles and hippopotamuses.
The Lord has declared that despite today's unprecedented challenges, okay, here we go. Those who build their foundations upon Jesus Christ and have learned how to draw upon his power need not succumb to the unique anxieties of this era. And we talked earlier on not on the here, but just on a phone call, maybe Marco Polo, I can't remember.
One of the 12
Anyway.
ways we find to talk to each other every day.
Yes. President Nelson also promised us that we can raise a sin-resistant generation.
Yeah.
And I think this is how we do it.
It's a bold statement.
It's a bold statement. Sin-resistant.
And you're working in 4th Nephi in how the people lived their
Yep.
covenant relationships.
Yep.
And it created protection and happiness within that ark.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you find that?
Oh, yes, I did. Okay, so I love a little bit further back.
Yeah, do
a
it.
little bit. Okay,
Do
so
it.
this is
Do
The
it.
Role of Righteous Women, written by President Kimball in October of 1979, but read by his cute little wife in General Conference.
Yeah.
The gospel answers are the only true answers to the questions which women and men over the centuries have raised about themselves, about life, and about the universe. How good God has been to us all in blessing us with these answers and assurances, even though these truths place upon us serious and everlasting obligations. It's like, you gotta breathe a little. Okay, how special it is for Latter-day Saint women to be given the lofty assignments they have been given by our Father in heaven, especially those of you who have been privileged to be born in this part of the last dispensation. Let other women pursue heedlessly what they perceive as their selfish interests. You can be a much needed force for love and truth and righteousness on this planet. Let others selfishly pursue false values, but God has given to you the tremendous task of nurturing families, friends, and neighbors, just as men are to provide. I just love that. I'm like, you know what? Let people do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Because this is what the Lord instructed you to do, and it has eternal value and weight to it. Just, so good. Okay. And finally, my dear sisters, may I suggest to you something that has not been said before, or at least quite in quite this way. Much of the major growth that is coming to the church in the last days will come because many of the good women of the world, in whom there is often such an inner sense of spirituality, will be drawn to the church in large numbers. This will happen to the degree that the women of the church reflect righteousness and articulateness in their lives, and to the degree that the women of the church are seen as distinct and different in happy ways from the women of the world. Among the real heroines in the world who will come into the church are women who are more concerned with being righteous than being selfish. These real heroines have true humility, which places a higher value on integrity than on visibility. Whew, that's a good one for today. Like this was in
1979.
far before social media.
1979.
Right? This was so prophetic, placing higher value on integrity than on visibility. Remember, it is as wrong to do things just to be seen of women as it is to do things to be seen of men. Great women and men are always more anxious to serve than to have dominion. Thus it will be that female exemplars of the church will be a significant force in both the numerical and the spiritual growth of the church in the last days. Oh, it gives me chills.
And I've got to share from President Nelson. He gave a talk where he quotes this talk from President Kimball. It's called A Plea to My Sisters in October of 2015. But he quotes President Packer also in the same talk. And President Packer said, we need women who are organized and women who can organize. We need women with executive ability who can plan and direct and administer. Women who can teach, women who can speak out. I thought about Miriam with that she opened her mouth
She did.
to the Pharaoh's. I mean, she was a Hebrew girl.
Yeah.
And she spoke to the Pharaoh's daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, that takes courage.
Literally like the princess of Egypt.
Yes, the princess of Egypt. And she also not only spoke to her, but like made a suggestion. Like,
Yeah.
do you want me to
Hey.
go do this?
I can help.
You know, because here's the thing. When we do these things that God needs women to do, he is going to part our Red Seas. He is going to take our babies out of the Nile River and put them in
A palace.
a palace.
Literally. I know.
Yeah.
I'm listening to these quotes and I'm like, this just feels like a lot. I'm feeling very much like Moses right now.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's so easy to be like, okay, well, I'm not this and I'm not that. And I mean, let me keep saying what he says. We need women with the gift of discernment who can view the trends in the world and detect that, however popular, are shallow or dangerous. Today, let me add that we need women who know how to make important things happen by their faith and who are courageous defenders of morality and families in a sin-sick world. We need women who are devoted to shepherding God's children along the covenant path towards exaltation. Women who know how to receive personal revelation, who understand the power of peace of the temple endowment. Women who know how to call upon the powers of heaven to protect and strengthen children and families. Women who teach fearlessly. And so it is so normal. The natural man in us is like, that's not me.
That's not me. I
Because-
think of you, or I think of this person
Right.
or this person, but,
that's-
I don't think of me.
That's Satan.
Yeah.
Right? And this whole lesson, one of the things I love about these 6 chapters is identity. Identity. And
Covenant.
covenant
Identity.
identity.
Yeah.
And that's what President Nelson also taught us.
Yeah.
Is that we are to first and foremost remember that we are children of God, children of the covenant,
Yeah.
and then disciples of
Jesus
Christ. And
Christ.
I think those first two, are actually what allows, I don't know, gives us access to the power. I don't have the right English words for it. To being disciples of Christ. When we know who God is, we know we can trust him. We know that it's not about us. We know that he is all powerful. He is all knowing. He will guide our paths. We can fully trust him because of his character, his nature, and who he is.
Yeah.
And then because we know that we are chosen, just like that cute little boy at Rising Star Outreach, we are chosen. That means we are sponsored.
Yeah.
That all of these things that we need to be, these are all gifts.
Yeah.
These are all gifts from God. And he will be, let's talk about that. He will be who he's going to be
Right.
for us in whatever situation.
Right. So that we can be who he needs us to be in whatever situation.
Yeah, because it's really him anyway. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't even have to worry about, all I have to do is really put forth my best effort. Like I've got to use my agency,
Yeah.
right? That scripture, like after all we can do, that people get so worked up about. All I'm doing is using my agency to say, well, if I need to know the doctrine, then am I spending time to learn the doctrine? It's kind of like, when you're in high school and you don't study at all and you didn't go to class, really. I didn't do that. I would have got my behind kicked, but I went to class.
didn't do that either.
But studying, like you don't just show up for the exam and be like, well, I'm going to pray and then God's going to give me all the answers. That's not his plan
That's not
either.
how it works.
So we have to be doing what we can do, righteously using our agency to choose him.
Right.
To say, okay, I'm not the greatest studier of the
Yeah.
scriptures.
I don't teach, and I
But
won't
I'm-
teach it fearlessly.
But I'm going to put in the time
Yeah.
so that when he needs me to teach it fearlessly,
Yeah.
I've filled the vessel.
Yeah. The Lord loves effort.
The Lord
And
loves
just like
and
the
requires
just
effort.
like the loaves and fishes,
Yeah.
the impossible math. If you haven't listened to that Dallas Jenkins
Yep.
BYU speech, please go listen to it. It's
Yes,
so good.
so good.
But I bring my little, maybe I have like a half a loaf, maybe I have like a slice of bread, and I
Mm-hmm.
have like the tail of a fish, and you know what? He still multiplies it because it's the intent of my heart. And you said something to me last year before I was prompted to like start sharing so much on Instagram that really helped me, because I was just like, I'm just not ready. I'm not ready. But you said, it's okay to not be ready. I always feel like I'm not ready, but I'm prepared.
Yes.
And that's the Lord's job, is to prepare us. If we're willing to say yes, this is another thing that I'm getting this year is I told the Lord I would just start saying yes to whatever he brought to me, which again goes back to our bonus episode last week of like being willing to be uncomfortable.
Yep.
Is that, you know what, if you ask me to do something, I know that you're going to provide the way.
That's
and
right.
it's so cool what he does, because people probably think, and you and I are very different. You're very type A. You're very prepared for all this. You really do spend hours studying. For me, I'm like, I flip through a book. I listen to the scriptures on my Audible, or like the audio of it. And I just ask the Lord to show me stuff, and he does. And he brings it to me in little snippets. But then even when I show up, I'm like, I still don't know what I'm going to say. And it just always goes whatever way, because before we start, we just
And even
surrender
though,
it to him.
And then even though that I have like a thought of like, okay, this is what I can say,
Mm-hmm.
I'm also like, whatever you want, and it goes in a totally, sometimes it goes down that direction,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the time he's like, no, I actually want you to talk about this.
Yeah, sometimes a lot of the aha things that he showed me, I don't even end up using.
Yeah, same. Same. I know.
So
I know.
that's
He's in
that type of like covenant confidence is
Yeah.
like, I can show up and we can chit chat for an hour every week
more.
or more. We're terrible. or more about whatever he wants us to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always some type of like thread throughout the whole conversation that it's like, oh, that's the message he wanted out of this.
And it doesn't have to be on a podcast.
No.
And it's not always.
No, most of
just
the time
here.
it's not.
Most of the time it's not. It's conversations with, not here, between the two of us, between
With
our
your
family,
kids.
kids,
Yeah.
spouses, people that you're neighbors with.
Yeah. And the really cool thing is, it's not about you.
No,
Like,
no.
That's what I'm learning more and more, is I'm like, I feel like an idiot, always just yammering on. But it's like, sometimes one thing that I say that like he put into my head, it was for somebody else, and they will come back and they will say, hey, and it's something that like for me, I'm like, I didn't even remember that I said that, or you know what I mean? And it's just like, just more and more he's proving to me that this is all him. And if I'm just willing to say yes and open my mouth through that covenant relationship with him, same with Moses, like, I will guide you. I will send you a type A friend that talks a little better and prepares a little more so you can have a podcast.
Well, but don't you love, and when we were trying to decide if we were going to do this, you're like, come on, you're the one who told me to share. You're the one who said you want a megaphone on your back deck. This is it.
I know.
But so he does send us people. And I love that about this week's lesson, is that
Yeah.
Moses is like, I can't do this by myself.
I can't do
I
it,
can't do
right?
it. And God doesn't say tough.
Yeah.
You're doing it by yourself. He says,
Right.
I'll talk to Aaron.
Yeah, and then it was like, more and more we kept talking about having a podcast, and then you came up with like maybe a name for it, like Sisters in the Scriptures, and I was like, no, that can't be it. That cannot be it. And then the Spirit tells me, Women at the Well.
Yeah.
Like,
Because we had talked
Ariane
about
has
that
told
story.
you that's her favorite story in all of
Yeah,
Scripture is
it
the
is.
woman at the well. It has to be Women at the Well. So I call her and I'm like, listen, it is not Sisters in the Scriptures. It's Women at the Well. And you're like, oh,
Of course it is.
of course it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's like,
so we help each
he
other.
just,
He gives us people.
he gives us people that
He always answers prayers through people.
always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he brings people together. I think about Alma and Amulek
Mm-hmm.
in the Book of Mormon. Like he always brings people together.
Yeah.
Because we need each other and him. But let's go back to like really who it is who is doing all of this. And we've missed so much. But let's just talk about his name, about what people say. So in chapter 4, verse 1. Moses says, but behold, they will not believe me or listen to my voice, for they will say, the Lord did not appear to you. The Lord said unto him, well, what's in your hand? He said, a staff. And he says, well, throw it on the ground. And he threw it on the ground and it became a serpent, and Moses ran away.
He's like,
oh my gosh.
He was already scared that there was a burning bush, right? Like,
Yeah. But you guys know the whole story about that. But the Lord, he's basically saying like, what's the name? Oh, that's before in chapter 3. What's the name that I may tell people that it was you that sent me?
Yeah.
Because they're not going to believe that this is coming from God.
Yeah.
And it's in verses
14.
14 and 15. So
And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And I love that it's all in
Yeah. So we know it's his name.
Like, oh, I am that I am. And he said, thus shalt thou say to the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you.
Yeah. And so you looked that up, and
I
we
did.
looked
I'm like,
that up.
tell me the Hebrew, because I know
Yep.
it means more than just I am, whoever I am, I say I am.
Yep.
And you don't need to worry about it.
Yep.
That kind of is almost like the equivalent of like our kids being like, well, why? Because I said so.
Yeah.
You know, like my knee-jerk reaction
Or
with
I
is
am
that
the mom.
I am that I am is like, you know what? I am whoever I say I am. Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
but that's not what it
But
means.
really, the Hebrew of it, and I'm gonna mispronounce it.
No, it's okay.
It's
I always do.
Eye Asher Eye. It's not just I am, it's I will be. I will be who I will be. I will be what I will be. And this shifts from just a name or like an identity, like that kind of puts a box around him, to like it says a living, unfolding presence. And it's like you'll come to know me by what I do, what I show you, where I take you, the experience, like living out our covenant relationship together. That's how you're going to know me. And I'll be whatever I need to be to enact the things that I've asked you to do.
I am whatever the situation requires.
Yeah.
Like that's what I am.
Yeah.
It's more of like that's what I am.
Yeah,
Instead
it's
of
more of
like
almost a what than that name identity, which he does
Which-
give a few
and there is
chapters
power.
later.
Yeah, there is power in his name.
Yes.
We've studied that and talked about that before. But I love that, like whatever it is, like when we have an apostle or prophet who's saying, okay, we need women who are this and this and this and this, and women who know the doctrine, and I haven't always known the scriptures, like right, you know my whole background and story.
I still don't know him.
And so you
Still
know,
working it
and
out.
so we're all still working on them. But when you offer, I'm going to go back to the women of the church, right? Because that's who we are, and not everybody who listens is a woman, but that whatever God is asking any of us to do, women or men, let's just be clear. Covenant disciples of Christ, right? Covenant children. That he will be whatever he asks you to be, whatever situation you're in. That if you're a caretaker, if you're a mom with a toddler, if you don't have children yet, if you can't have children, if you're not married, if you're single, like Satan wants us to be so distracted by the people aren't going to listen, or nobody's going to pay attention to me, or I am slow of speech, or we fight for our limitations so much
Yes.
that we need to fight for who our God is.
Yeah, we list off our discrepancies and how we
Yes.
can't do it, fully just ignoring how he does it.
Yeah.
He's the one that does it anyways.
And that's what he was trying to say in those first 7 verses of Exodus 1 is he's like, I'm going to be who I'm going to be. Like I'm the covenant keeper. And those people of 4th Nephi I think they were calling on that, like this is our
Maybe
relationship.
not even calling on it, just accepting it.
Living it.
It is just
Yeah,
there
living
for
it.
the taking anytime we want it. Anytime we're willing to just say yes.
Yeah.
I accept what you have for me.
Yeah.
Show
And
me
I'm your
who you are.
handmaiden.
Show
here.
me that I
Yeah.
am that I am.
Yeah.
Like what he was doing is
that's what he did.
It was like a promise to Moses,
Yep.
telling him I am that I am.
Yep.
There's a futurity to it that like I don't need you to worry about how it's going to get done in the future, because that future is mine. This is another thing we talked about on Friday, is that the Lord gave us just right now, just today, and we get to create today. Tomorrow is his, yesterday is his. He redeems yesterday, he provides for tomorrow. Like you just exist right now because I am that I am. Like I will provide a way, like whom God calls, he qualifies. And
That's right.
And it has nothing to do with us besides using our agency to accept what he asks of us.
And we have to be okay with it maybe not looking so pretty.
Yeah.
Because Moses gets that point, I think, and then he's like, all right, he builds up the courage, he goes to Pharaoh. He's like, my people need to at least have 3 days off so that we can go and worship our God in the wilderness. And Pharaoh's a stink. And I have other words, but he's terrible.
He's a stink.
He's terrible. He's listening to Satan. you know, and he's like, well, if you have more time to take 3 days off, you have more time to work. And we do that to ourselves too, right? Like that we don't rest from our labors for a season, you know, we don't do that. But so then Pharaoh and his people go to the children of Israel and they're like, well, Moses and Aaron said that you guys have time to take time off. And so now not only are we going to not give you that time off, but now we're going to put you in what seems to be an impossible situation. And so then they're mad at Moses and Aaron. And Tara and I were talking about this before we started recording. And I'm like, well, that's what Satan does.
Yeah.
Satan puts us in impossible situations where we feel like we have to be this like hamster on a wheel, running faster and faster and faster. And then who do we get mad at? We get mad at God, his servants.
We blame him.
We blame him instead of being like, no, what we actually need to do is just walk away like Moses did when he was on the path and he turned aside to see why the bush was burning. Like instead of getting mad and thinking, oh, this isn't fair and I'm working so hard, well, like turn away, you know, like turn to God, who is the burning bush, be in his presence, go to the temple, commune with him, pray, read your scriptures. Like, I think sometimes we like poo-poo the to-do list because we're like, well, the to-do list isn't going to make me a better person. Well, definitely not doing the to-do list is also not going to make you a better person, right? So like, get humble and go talk to God.
What I think is awesome about this part, and I am going to quote Kung Fu Panda for the second time.
I'm here for it.
I shared this in Gospel Doctrine 2 weeks ago, where Pharaoh is like doing all these things to keep down the Hebrews. Let's kill all the sons.
Yep.
Okay? Totally ignoring the women who would actually set up everything that would bring this all about, right? And then he's trying to make them work, like, because they're worried that this nation is going to rise up against them and overtake them or fight against them with their enemies. So Master Oogway in Kung Fu Panda tells Master Shifu that sometimes the road we take to avoid our destiny is the very path that we find it on. He says it differently than that. Let me look it up, because I just looked it up a couple weeks ago. But it's like Pharaoh literally brought about his own demise.
Self-fulfilling
It was
prophecy.
his self-fulfilling prophecy.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, a person often meets his destiny on the road he takes to avoid it.
Yes.
And I'm like, he could have had grace and allowed these people to go and serve their God. And you know what? Then they would have come back and God would have blessed all of them like he did with Joseph, right? Because Egypt, like Pharaoh, when Joseph was there, was like, he was so blessed by Joseph. Like he saved their entire nation. But this next Pharaoh, who I love, and Jared Halverson was like, he was the most powerful, probably one of the most powerful men on earth. And it doesn't even bother to record his name.
Yeah.
They recorded the midwives' names.
Yeah.
That saved the Hebrew men, but not this almighty Pharaoh.
Yeah.
And it's
who didn't know Joseph. So he didn't know the covenant. So
Yeah.
he didn't know how God blessed his covenant people.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
He's
it's
leaning
so
to his own
interesting that
understanding.
Pharaoh is just like totally making a mess out of all of this, because what he didn't realize is he had God's covenant people and he could have greatly benefited from them. But instead, he hardened his heart. Which is also something that I love in the Joseph Smith translation that I've learned, is because a lot of the translation of it is that God hardened Pharaoh's heart. That's Joseph Smith translated that correctly, and it means Pharaoh hardened his heart, right? Because that actually dispels this idea that you don't have your agency and God did that. No, God actually gave Pharaoh a huge opportunity.
Over and
just
over and
massive
over and over
opportunity
again.
in sending Moses in to ask if they could come and worship him. God was testing the heart of Pharaoh, and Pharaoh is the one that kept hardening it and causing all kinds of havoc in his own life. And do we not do that?
I was just gonna say, it's so easy.
do
I know
it.
when we're little and
I
we
do
read the
it.
Book of Mormon, we're like, oh, Laman and Lemuel, they're the worst. Or we read the Exodus story and you're like, geez, that Pharaoh guy, he was an idiot.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no,
Oh,
we
it's
are
me.
Pharaoh.
It's
Like
me.
we learn from every aspect of this story. Like we are relatable to Moses, and then hopefully the women who we've just been talking about, that we're relatable to them, that we have the courage. And then we're like, no, we're the Pharaoh, we're hardening the heart. We're not recognizing the covenant power
Yeah.
in our own lives and how that
Yeah.
would benefit our lives.
Everyone around us, not
And
just even us.
Yes,
Everybody can
everyone
benefit
around
off of this.
us. And so we're shutting off the covenant
Yeah.
because we're not going to
Yeah,
worship.
'cause
We're not going to renew our
We're
covenants.
choosing the hard road.
Yeah.
So we can learn. Either way, God turns it all for, means it all for good.
Right.
If our heart isn't hard towards him, right?
Right.
And if Pharaoh had just even once just softened his heart, he could have avoided
Right.
such heartache in his life and his people's life, right? And that's the other thing too that I'm taking away from this, is that when we do harden our heart, when we choose sin, we don't just hurt ourselves.
That's right.
Like the way that we use our agency either blesses or curses everybody else around us. And I think that that's like we're in such a society of like, you do you. Like, is that not like a direct mock of like, I am that I am?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, you
Yeah.
do you. You do whatever you feel. You do whatever you think is true, your truth. And it's like complete opposite of I am that I am. And if I know that he is who he is, then I don't have to worry, and it doesn't have to be about me or my ideas
That's right.
or,
And there's
or
so
how I
much
can enact
peace
things.
in living that way. And I think how we get there, I love, this is back in chapter 2. It's in verse, let's see,
Kinda
23,
sneaky to find the verse.
23, 24. The people are praying, and they're praying for rescue from slavery. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And God saw the people of Israel, and God knew their suffering. So they prayed. As the covenant people, they prayed. And again, what he's telling Moses to go tell the Pharaoh is speaking about who he is. God speaks to Moses and he says, I am the Lord. This is in chapter 6. I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty, but my name is the Lord. And I made myself known unto them. But he's saying, this is what you need to go and say, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of, and I'm going to have you fill it. This was from the Egyptians, but this
Fill
is
in the
what
blank,
he's saying
wherever
to
your
you.
burdens are coming from.
I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of your life. I will deliver you from slavery. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great acts of judgment. I will take you to be my people, and I will be your God, and you shall know that I am the Lord your God, who has brought you from out from under the burdens. This is of the Egyptians, but of your life. I will bring you into a land that I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I will give it to you for a possession. I am the Lord.
I am.
He is going to do his work. He is going to deliver us. He is going to bring us out. If we choose for him to be our God, and how we do that is we don't harden our hearts.
Yeah.
We don't think, oh, I can't do it. I'm not that. I'm not this. I'm not all these things. Like, don't let yourself go there.
Yeah.
Be like, oh,
Well,
red
because what you're
flag.
actually
This is
doing, like, you're not
from
limiting
God.
yourself. You're limiting him.
Yeah.
And when
Well,
we
and
limit
his
him,
blessings
yeah, that's
to
what I'm
you.
saying. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we're the ones that actually shut that door.
Yes.
Because we're like, oh, no, probably not. That sounds nice, but I probably can't do that.
Yeah, that's like you were saying, that's not me, that's her, that's him, that's
Yeah.
my neighbor, that's this. And you are saying that he isn't I am
Yeah.
when you say that.
Yeah.
And so I think, for this week, as we are preparing to go into general conference
Yes.
and to be given direction from prophets and apostles, living prophets and apostles who speak for Jesus Christ, because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is his church. It holds his authority
The New Testament
because
church
he
restored.
is
Old
directing.
Testament also.
Yeah, old, new. This is the living Christ
It's the
living
covenant.
church.
It's the covenant church.
This
It's
is the only
covenant.
church that has his authority.
Yeah.
Because he's leading it.
Yeah.
And as we listen to them, instead of like, going to this natural man, like see, check how you feel. If you're feeling less than, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling like not enough, if you're
Less
feeling
than.
like my
Burdened.
or in slavery or whatever that is.
Or just like overwhelmed with fear. I feel like there's just so much going on in
Yes.
the world right now, and there's so much fear mongering
Yes.
and
All of
so
that.
much
Then
tumult. that it's
Remember,
like,
remember chapter 6 of Exodus from
Yeah.
this week is that he is the great Jehovah. He is the Redeemer.
Yeah.
He is the Lord. And that it's the primary song, I'm a child of God, that we sing all the time. I'm changing up the words a little bit
I
for my
know, I love
primary
it.
this year. He will lead us, guide us, walk beside us, help us find the way, teach us all that we must do to be like him someday. Like he's going to do
Yeah.
that. He will
Yeah.
give us all that we need when we need it and
I
provide.
also was thinking when you shared that with me, that little tweak in that song,
Yeah.
and it was like, he has sent me here, but also I chose to come here.
Yes.
Because I
Yes.
knew him.
Yes.
I knew him and what he was
And
capable
trusted
of
his
doing,
plan.
and I totally was like,
his son.
I shouted for joy. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, probably 0% to do with me and my capabilities or confidence in
No,
myself,
yeah.
and 110% just like knowledge that he is who he is. So he wasn't gonna
So
let me
let's-
fail if I just
Yeah.
turned toward him,
Let's call on that.
right?
Call on that, live in it, be confident in it, and do what we can do today.
Yeah, and
because
you know
of
what?
him.
Also, I'm just going to do a little plug of positivity here. President Nelson, I pray that we will not miss the majesty of
Yeah.
this moment. The Lord is indeed hastening his work. Like, yes, like so something interesting that I learned a few years ago when the Lord was just taught me about the law of opposition so much, and it has served me so well, because when I am in those low depths, I have this like promise that I will have that like equal and opposite high. But the great and terrible day, this end times that they talk about, and how intense it is and how scary it is, the great and terrible day of the Lord, it will be great and terrible. We focus so much on the terrible and the calamities and all of the prophecies. Like you read Revelations and Isaiah, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to be here for that. And we completely miss the other side of the coin. What President Nelson was talking about here is the majesty of the moment. Like, look what the Lord is doing. And it's like, you know, when he was parting the Red Sea for these Egyptians, or for the Hebrews, it's like, they could have paid attention, and they probably did, to the scary Egyptians coming up behind them, and missed that God was actually parting a whole sea for them. And that's what he's doing right now. And you can be part of it if you are willing to say yes. If you are willing to be one of those women or those men in the last days that like the Lord saved for these final innings, because the greatness and the miracles, President Nelson also promised us. Are you looking it up right now?
No, keep going.
That the manifestations of Jesus Christ's power
Oh yeah.
will be greater than the parting of the Red Sea. Like what's coming is going to be like equivalent and better to that. The greatest manifestations of Jesus Christ's power are on their way. And I feel like they're already happening. And if you're not attuned to that, if you are so busy watching the news and listening to people bark on social media, you're not on the right radio station.
Yep.
Tune your heart, tune your spirit to this, because he's about to do works like he did for Moses, right in front of our very eyes.
And it does take action and faith upon
Yes.
on our part, and
We help bring it about.
And yes, and so I looked up Drawing on the Powers of Jesus Christ by President Nelson from April 2017, and this is it. When he said this, and this is like a statement that I check myself and hold on to, both of those things every single day. He says, when you reach up for the Lord's power in your life with the same intensity, like think about how you're living on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
When you reach up with the same power and intensity that a drowning person has when grasping and gasping for air, power from Jesus Christ will be yours. When the Savior knows you truly want to reach to him, that's like, I will be your God and you shall know that I'm your God and you will be my people.
Because he's always reaching.
He's always reaching. But when we choose him, when we keep using our agency to choose him, when he can feel that the greatest desire of your heart is to draw his power into your life, you will be led by the Holy Ghost to know exactly what you should do. So
I love that. And
that's
you can
Exodus.
just marry that with
That's the Exodus.
his promise that
The Exodus.
you will not survive the coming days
Yep.
spiritually if you do not have the constant guiding direction of the Holy Spirit.
Yep. The Exodus out of the
The terrible
hardship
day.
of mortality,
Yeah.
the day-to-day,
Yeah.
living without his peace
Yeah.
is that.
Yeah. And he didn't say anywhere in there that he would remove the peace.
Yep.
or that he would like remove the problem. Sorry.
Right.
He offers the peace in the problems.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that you can't even feel them.
Yeah.
That's part of the covenant blessing.
Actually, in this Carrie Muhlestein book, and maybe I've already read this, but it's back again.
Yeah,
right?
I love it.
It says, it's just talking about our covenant relationship with God. There is no doubt that the modern covenant people as a whole, as well as covenant individuals, have the blessings of heaven poured out upon them. The greatest of blessings is to become more Christ-like. Joy, peace, comfort, unity, and charity are among the most magnificent blessings we receive as a people. Repentance, forgiveness, confidence in the presence of God, and all the knowledge the gospel brings us are similarly supernal blessings. There are so many ways covenant people are blessed that any effort to list or describe them would be inadequate.
Yeah. So hold on to that.
Like, listen.
Hold on to that this week.
Listen, Linda.
He is who he is, and he will be who he needs to be. So
Yeah, and he will do whatever he needs to do because he's able to do his own work.
Yep.
Right there. That's in 2 Nephi too.
Yep. So anyway, okay, go forth knowing who you are and who's right beside you all the time, and get excited for General Conference.
Oh, I'm so excited. When you said General Conference, I get
Jesus
butterflies.
is coming to talk to us
Yeah.
through his prophets and apostles. So have a great week. Thanks for joining us.